Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to Top Step TV. This is Opening Call. The biggest and best names in the trading world on this show. And look who we got here today. We got Coach Jay, we got the Hogue, and JD. And I'm going to say good morning to all these gentlemen. Pass it over to JD. We got some opportunity knocking at the door. Let's see if we can answer that one. JD, how you doing, partner?
We sure do. Good morning, Eddie. Thank you, sir. As always, we're looking at that 1 minute opening range breakout in gold. We've established the opening range almost 40 ticks wide. So we're playing micros again just to mitigate some risk. We've got our stop to enter above the market at 33.87, stop to enter below the market at 33.82 half. So we'll see if we trigger along. We were sitting in the green room just a minute ago, and Coach Jay said, everyone buy gold. Opening with a gap overnight.
Well, you got to be careful there.
It's not
So we do have
financial
an early
advice.
bias to the long side. Yeah, not financial advice. But yeah, I'm going to say we got an early bias to the long side. But what's going on? What happened overnight? Why did gold spike so much after hours?
So go ahead, Eddie.
No, I was going to say we got a good hypothesis, and you got it, Jay. You want to share it with us what you think?
Yeah. So Dakota and I were doing slow markets last night. I was in a long gold, looking for 20 points, and right at 8 p.m. Central Time, we saw a huge spike of volume, and really continued from there. It pushed it almost all the way up to 3,400. We had some traders in the chat, and shout out to the chat. You guys know collectively know everything about these markets. But there was a trader in the chat that said that the Shanghai Gold Exchange was on holiday for the past week, and yesterday was the first day they came back. One thing that Coach Paul and I have been looking at over the past couple of weeks was, buying starts during the Asia session, and maybe if we got any selling, it was during New York. Last week that kind of flipped, and we saw selling in Asia, buying in New York. The buying in Asia came back last night, so I think it's safe to buy gold. We are less than 5% off the all-time high, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon.
All right. Well, technically, we're looking at a 3 minute opening range breakout now. We are in our 4th minute of trading in gold at the moment. So see how this turns out. Again, we've got our stops to enter above and our stops to enter below, looking at a 1 minute opening range breakout. But we've been open for a few minutes and haven't broken out yet. We got a couple 730 numbers.
Opening range.
44 tick opening range. Yeah, opening range is a little wide. If we were trading one mini, we'd been taking on about $500 worth of risk, which is pretty deep for a 1 minute opening range breakout. That's why we are on we're trading the micros right now. Put a 5 lot in the micros to work. We do have a number at 730. Eddie, what's on the eco calendar for the day, if you please?
Economy. Coming up in about 5 minutes here, we got import, exports for March, trade balance. Coming up in about 30 minutes, that also famous coloring book we call the Red Book. Coming up at 9:10, we got the IBT tip, economic optimism, small number, but number doing itself. Also at 11 o'clock here, EIA short-term energy outlook. Big number here I think we should be watching here is that 10-year note auction coming on here at 12 o'clock high noon. We also got later in the day the API crude stock. And your guess is as good as mine as far as speakers. 9 o'clock, Besant will be testifying. That's going to be a U.S. Treasury Besant. Yes, one of our favorite people. And at around 10:45, Trump has a meeting with Carney, talking north. So we'll keep an eye on the markets here, especially on the wire. But that's what I've got. Eyes on the prize. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Eddie. We do have the start of the Fed's scheduled 2-day FOMC meeting today. That'll conclude tomorrow with an announcement on interest rates and the Fed chairman press conference and Q&A afterwards. We'll be piping that in live here on TopStep TV, so make sure you're here to join us and listen along and comment along. It's always a good time. I think we got David Green coming in for it. He does great commentary for FOMC Day. Fed Day.
So this trade balance number that's coming out at 7:30 is March. Not expecting it to be all that impactful because those numbers are going to be prior to any of the tariff situation that's been going on. But moving forward, I believe that trade balance number is going to be a little bit more important when it does come out in April, May, June, July, August. As things kind of play out with these tariffs, I think that's going to be a much more watched number. Again, not expecting much from it today because these are the March numbers prior to the tariffs. Order fill. We're going to see. We are going to see. Boy, we were just stuck in this 44 tick opening range here. Just not a lot of action here so far. Gold opening with a session gap to the upside. Overnight inventory long. If we do get a short, I think it's probably a see money, take money type of situation.
That sounds about right. Yeah, we're well past the 3 minute too, so we're technically looking at a 5 minute opening range breakout in gold.
That's just where it goes. Earnings today. Majors this morning, Duke Energy beating on both expectations for earnings per share and revenues. DoorDash beating on earnings per share, but missing on revenues. Ferrari beating on both, of course. And then after the close, the big ones, AMD and Arista. but no majors. A long list, however, long list of earnings due out today. No majors.
You know, John, you mentioned DoorDash. They bought Diggerdo, or they bought another food delivery
yeah?
company. Yeah, so surprised on that one.
I have never had food delivered by Uber, DoorDash, anything like that. My kids do it all the time. They're willing to pay up.
Deliveroo. Yeah, they
think-
bought it for 2.9 billion pounds, $3.86 billion.
Huh.
British delivery. So there you go. A merge for you.
Hogan is it's incredibly expensive using those delivery
It
apps.
is.
Yes, it is.
It is.
It more than doubles the price of anything you purchase. More than doubles.
Yeah.
Jay, are you one of those guys that likes to have their food delivered?
I try not to be, but every once in a while, yeah, you get busy, and then it's just like, it's just easier to just order. Sometimes I do. You can order to go pick it up, so I'll do that because it makes it a little easier to order from a couple of different places. But yeah, if they beat on their earnings, I probably contributed to that a little bit.
Well, when you're trading in your underwear, you don't want to get in the car and use a drive-through. That's what I do. Yeah, in my underwear.
Dakota's a big fan of the DoorDash, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
He likes
Yep.
he likes
I think he
getting
does it
his
every
lunch,
day.
dropped off.
Well, only time I'd probably use it is if I was drinking and I send my kids, hey, you're my DoorDash, go get food.
And get what you want. That's
Good
what you
call. 1 minute till the number. No breakout yet. In gold.
Nothing.
45 seconds. Let's see what happens. So the trade balance, they're looking at negative 137.15 billion. Prior was negative 122. Let's see what hits the wire here in about 30 seconds.
Good morning, everybody.
Keep these stops in.
Chat. I saw Shubham, top of the chat, Dan Trader, Anastasios, Man Caves, John Jones, Ty, Paul H. Hit the like, so don't forget to hit the like. Yabbersmack, good to see you this morning. Rich, Adrian, Daniel, Raj, Frizu, haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you. Bill Phillips, welcome everybody. We're so happy that you have joined us this morning.
All right.
All right,
Trade
here we go.
balance coming in a negative 140.5 billion. So a little deeper than the negative 137 billion. And there you go. There's our numbers for this morning.
No real
right.
action to speak of in the markets, though.
Nope. As expected.
Import,
No
export,
need,
Nothing at all.
pretty much.
no knee-jerk reaction.
A big yawn.
Across the board, right? Equity's not doing much.
Yeah, right.
No surprise.
Nothing.
Definitely,
Watching
that's
the
the
future.
trade balance number. Right, Johnny.
Watching the future, that may become a much more important number.
Write that
Mark
down.
that down. Keep an eye on that number.
Bookmark it.
Write that down.
Hmm.
High of our opening range, 33.8690. And our low is 33.8260. No trade yet. Trading towards the upper end of the opening range right now. Maybe we'll get a trigger here.
Well, I'd
And we are
much rather
in.
get trading long. There it is.
I was counting long. 33.78 even. One tick of slippage on our entry.
78 even.
87.
All right. 87. Yeah, my bad.
I put our CYA all the way down at 33.81. Maybe tighten that up a little.
300 trades so far.
33.82. Let's follow the red off the bat.
Yep.
Is it see money, take money on the upside? Or is that just a downside thing?
No. If the Chinese are back buying, we want to be long.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Let's switch back over to a 3-minute chart.
What do we have ahead here? We have upside. I mean, I got no targets, no nothing till 34.36, which is weekly kickoff high. That's a $46 move. It's the next naked point of control as well, which is 35.80.
Got
Got it.
115 contracts sitting at 94 evens.
There you go.
Is that the micros?
No, in the minis.
What was that price, Jay?
94 even. 115
94,
contracts
right.
there.
I'll see what's offered in the micros. Yesterday, the bulk of the volume was in the micro contract. We saw a couple. There was a 400 lot bid resting in the micros and nothing in the minis yesterday.
Coach Jay, how was
Right,
at the buzzer
right.
yesterday? Because Peter Schaap said at the buzzer helped my trading immensely. and I thank Coach Paul and Coach Jay for that. Thanks, Peter, for that.
At the buzzer
Every
was great
day.
yesterday. Every day we covered. Shout out to Peter. We cover the markets like we normally do, and then we get into questions. I think at the buzzer, and Coach Paul and I talk about this all the time, is as great as the questions that we get during the session.
Yeah.
Markets aren't open, so we need something to drive the conversation. And a lot of times we have traders, asking some pretty good questions that I think can relate to most traders. So yesterday was a good one.
Yeah, 3:15 every day here at YouTube channel.
Let's take out the overnight high now. 33.95. Let's go.
Getting real close to 1-to-1 hour here. 33.92 would be our 1-to-1 hour target.
Let's go.
What's the old tilt looking like? 65% long in the tilt.
We saw a crazy tilt in crude oil last night. It's like 85% long. Dakota posted a screenshot of it in the
I saw that.
Fast Market Slack. Yeah, 85% long, and
Really?
everybody was in the money. I don't know if it was eight traders trading crude at night last night, but
There we go.
Let's go. Keep going.
Overnight high 33.94.90. Well, 33.95. We'll continue to monitor this. Eddie, do we
Yes,
have any
sir.
news? What happened
Nah,
overnight?
nothing happened overnight.
Nothing.
We all went to bed
Cool.
early. Nothing happened. Except for this. Wait a minute. Beep, 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 beep. U.S. stock futures pointed lower today as investors assessed a fresh batch of corporate earnings and the indications of potential impact of, yes, Trump's trade agenda. The Dow fell 104 points, 0.3%. The S&P dropped a 0.4%, and the Nasdaq declined 130 points or 0.7%. Benchmark 500 slipped yesterday. Whoops. Ending a streak of 9 positive sessions. It's the longest such run in 2 decades. Sentiment was dented by Trump's announcement, the new 100% tariffs on foreign-made movies, dragging down media firms like Netflix and Walt Disney in particular, although hopes remain that the White House levies will not be aggressive as many feared. Reading of activity, U.S. key indicators accounts for more than 2/3 of the economy. Output was stronger than anticipated, signaling that businesses may be able to shrug off headwinds from the tariffs. Still, a metric of prices paid by service companies rose, adding worries that the duties could fuel inflationary pressures. And yes, our good friend, Mr. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, he's going to be talking again today, but yesterday told the conference that the tariffs, as well as tax cuts and deregulation, would help to overcome any short-term market confusion. And that's what I've got here. I'm going to pass it back to you, JD. And that is the news.
Well done. Thank you so much, Eddie. All right, guys, I'm locked in this gold trade. We got 5 micros. I might peel a couple off and see if we can't get back in a better trade location if I see volume starting to taper back a little bit. I'll do that.
Order fill.
Coach Jay are going over charts, which we should get into because we want to take a look at that opening range trade in crude oil at the top of the hour,
Yes.
8 o'clock a.m. Central Time, regular trading hours for crude oil. So why don't you guys hit the charts? I'll keep an eye on this gold trade, and I'll butt in if I make any moves on it.
Right. Well, I don't see a lot of reason to start on the weeklies yet here so far. I mean, so far it's just an inside week from last week. I'm going to start with the dailies here, Jay, if that's all right with you.
Sounds good.
So yesterday, inside day from Friday. So far, the last 2 days have been inside days from Friday's push to the upside. Bit of a breakout to the upside. Still haven't reached that April 2nd high in the S&Ps. That's something I find a little bit interesting. We lost about 4,100 in open interest yesterday, indicating possible long liquidation. It's starting to maybe look a little bit like a bull flag if we can hold up at these lows here from last Friday, right around 56.22, which is close to 56.10, which was last week's weekly kickoff high. Volume was pretty putrid yesterday, but that makes sense. A lot of traders were on holiday overseas, so that makes sense. And we're still waiting for the FOMC announcement and presser on Wednesday. Jay, any thoughts on the daily chart here?
Looking at the daily, I have the same concern as you, Hogue. That April 2nd candle, we could not trade above it in the S&P, and we made it up there on lower volume. It was pretty much average volume. If you take out the last 2 months, it was average for what we've seen. But that low volume rally and then hesitating at this area is a little bit concerning as well. Again, I think we got down here because of the tariff news, and we haven't really heard of a resolution yet. We have heard of signs of a deal being made, but we don't have one yet, right? So
Right.
I don't think we're in the clear, and it's showing it in the chart as well, where we came back up to these prices where most of the heavy tariffs were implemented, and market's not trading above it. So yeah, decision making area here in the markets for sure.
S&P seems to be lagging. I know the
Yep.
SPY, the Nasdaq, they all took out that April 2nd high, but not the S&Ps. Let's take a look now onto my 30-minute chart and see what we're looking at here this morning. Okay, so there's Friday's range, overnight range, testing down through the low of it now. Looking here in the S&Ps, overnight inventory is short. I mean, you look at where we opened last night, right around here. We're trading all the way down here. So overnight inventory, certainly short. One of the things that I would be kind of focusing on today, and I mentioned it yesterday, was the hopes that we could see a move back to this late spike to the downside that occurred on Thursday of last week. We've got another late spike to the upside, which occurred last Wednesday. These are areas of focus for me if price gives me the opportunity there. It doesn't seem like we're holding this late spike to the downside, so that might be marking a little bit of rejection of higher pricing. Again, yesterday we lost open interest, and you could say because the market was overall to the downside as far as settlement was concerned, the move was to the upside. Short covering is where we lost that open interest yesterday. Not new longs. This was short covering, not new shorts. Short covering. So we had some buyers come in covering some shorts. And if we remember that short covering temporarily takes buying power away from the market. So overnight inventory short. All right. Well, let's keep an eye on that. We are opening with a session gap from yesterday's session. The low from yesterday's session, 56.55 quarter, would close that session gap. But if we can't close that gap relatively early, we look for opportunities in the direction of the gap, which might have us looking for lower pricing. My focus today, if we do get down to this late spike to the upside from last Wednesday, 55.72 half, would be to see if we can hold that level, start to see some basing, and maybe see the market recover a little bit. We still could see something in that realm here around this late spike to the downside from last Thursday. Again, 56.27 quarter. Jay, fascinated with your thoughts on what we're seeing in this 30-minute chart here in the S&Ps.
Yeah, so on the 30, we are crossing below the 200 moving average. Shout out to Coach Paul. I work with him at the buzzer all the time. We crossed below the 200 moving average. We came back and checked it. It's holding as a resistance. So that's where I'm looking. If we do get a bounce or try to fill this gap that we have to the upside, Hogue, 56.44 is that 200 moving average right now. If we don't see buyers above that, I'm a seller, especially if we're seeing gold continue to rally this way.
Yes.
Buy gold, sell the equities, the trade that we're seeing right now. And the downside targets that you had, 5,600 right there. All of this area here that's kind of unchecked since we printed it. And I think that's that late spike you were talking about going back to Thursday. We're trading into that right now. So 55.80s as a downside target if we continue selling.
55.80s. Okay. 55.72 half is that the base of that late spike. There's a settlement there, 55.88. So, all right, good thoughts. And, one other thing, we've got the overnight VWAP really showing resistance all the way down on that 30-minute chart. You can see it right here. It's just kissing it and leaving. So definitely a little bit of a downtrend to start the morning, huh?
It left that range, something Coach Paul and I look at, the first 30-minute candle from last night. It left that range pretty early, and that's what we've been calling the urgency trade, where as soon as the session starts and we start to get some volume coming in, that VWAP leaves that range, and you can see the angle of it selling for a reason here. So let's see if that continues through New York. But not a market that I'm willing to buy just off a price basis if this is what volume looks like.
Yeah, just overnight inventory may not be enough to save this.
Right.
All right, let's take a look at the Nasdaq now. Again, very similar as far as the weekly looks. We did get that look above that April 2nd high. What did we do yesterday? Well, I mean, really, we're still inside Friday's extended trading hour range for the last two sessions. Is this starting to look like a bull flag? Who knows? ACH, anything can happen. We're waiting for the FOMC. Lots of uncertainties remain out there. The open interest yesterday, absolutely flat. It was less than 100 either direction, and that's on the estimate. So there was no real exchange or change of positioning yesterday. Does that mean that traders are positioned the way they want to be for the FOMC meeting? Is that what we're feeling here? Volume again yesterday very low because partial holiday. I don't know, Jay. What do you think of the Nasdaq? Nasdaq is a heart palpitation machine for me. What do you think?
Similar story to the S&Ps, right? Where we had a nice rally, pretty much, I think we had 9 out of 10 days or 9 out of 11 days to the upside.
Uh-huh.
But it looks heavy if you look at the volume decreasing as we're making new highs. And looks like it could very easily fall back into this range. I'm looking at 50% of that April 2nd candle, which is at 19,570 about. And Hogue, I think if you have your TPO charts, there's a naked point of control that's somewhere around there as well. That's what I'm targeting here. It's about another 1.5% from where we are right now. But looking at this 19,560, 19,570 area as a target.
All right.
Hey guys, real quick, we saw some decent selling coming into gold, so I peeled off 3 of those at
Okay.
2-to-1 R. Exit price was 33.9710. I'm gonna look for
Nice.
another spot to get back in on these if it looks like we see buyers stepping back in again.
Nice trade.
Still long 2. Still long 2 micros.
All right. Yeah. We'll try and stay long, right? All right. Where were we? Oh, to the 30 in the Nasdaq. Overnight inventory. Short. Overnight inventory. Short. So we do have an unfinished gap. It looked down into it last week, but never finished that gap. I could see a move down to that gap. Now, you were talking about 19,500s, about 19,550s.
Yep.
So I've got 19,582 as that late spike to the upside that occurred last Wednesday, I believe it was. The next naked point of control that I see down below in TPO is 19,471, which, of course, very close to weekly kickoff low. You'll notice a lot of those weekly kickoff levels are really kind of centered around naked points of control, because naked points of control are comfy areas. Their market was happy there one day. Maybe it'll be happy there again. So, watching the overnight view app again, and just kind of holding as resistance. Probably going to see the same thing on Jay's chart with that first 30-minute bar on the overnight open last night. The urgency bar, still looking to sell, looking for shorts. We do have an overnight inventory adjustment possible, but if we can't close the gap, we're looking for continuation to the downside. As long as we hold that VWAP above price, I'd be looking for shorts. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, same thing here, Hogue. I'm looking for shorts. Where I would take a long is when the New York session starts, if we go VWAP from the New York session, if it crosses above the overnight VWAP, then I might start looking for longs. But until then, I think this is a short. Shout out to Dakota. Took a short last night, somewhere around 19,980s. I think he took it off. He had a target of 890, so I think we reached his target as well, which makes a lot of sense.
Right.
If you look to the left here, we have some demand here where the market
Yes.
is making a decision. But yeah. If I would not be surprised to see us continue to sell down to that 500 area. And Hogue, if your weekly kickoff level comes into play today, just want to let you know that you are the GOAT at choosing levels.
Well, I appreciate
Even
that,
if it
Jay.
doesn't.
Hopefully people make money on it.
Right. I think they do.
And at the very least, it lets you limit risk at that level. So thanks, Jay. All right, let's take a look at crude now. Crude, I think, is very, very interesting. It has been a tough read for me, at least. Maybe that means it's tough for others, but when we look below that weekly kickoff low prior to the open to the regular trading hours yesterday, all we saw was rejection there. So it's closed back above the weekly kickoff low, nothing but rejection below that. No test to the swing low here, which was 54.46. Market seems to be kind of setting up maybe a longer time frame area of balance after just leaving a very long time frame area of balance. Waiting for new information, I'm sure. We added 15,000 contracts yesterday, JD, off that visit, that hang around, and leaving that weekly kickoff low 56.70. And I don't know. What do you think about crude, Jay? I'm just not all that in tune with it, not been trading it, and not trading it anytime soon, probably. What do you think, Jay?
I took a short in crude oil yesterday. I took it for a scratch. We saw a spike of volume around the same time. We saw that same spike of volume in gold. It was to the upside. I have a VWAP attached to that. And if we look at my charts, it's been a support since then. And we've come down and checked it at least 3 times already. And the market holding up to this red line on my chart here. But I agree with you, Hogue. I want to short this. It is a market that's been in a downtrend. It's held, but maybe we got a little extended. Looking at the daily here, we have the 20 moving average, which we got a little extended from. We tried to make new lows on the year. We couldn't. So maybe a little bit of a relief rally, short covering before we continue. Maybe shorts need to get some better pricing before they sell it again. So I wouldn't be surprised at a move back up to this 20 moving average. It's about 4% up from where we are right now. Not saying that happens today, but yeah, I have not traded crude much either.
Maybe we've got a few trap shorts down there that can help push us up to that 20 session moving average to get a better look at some shorts up there. All right.
Yeah, I think that's what I would be looking at.
Okay. Well, what about the 30-minute chart? What's that saying? Well, again, everything is opening with a gap. It's gaps a go-go today. Again, overnight inventory, long. Whoop. Gap close. Pretty much the initial balance high, 57.65. That would be a session gap close. We've got a late spike to the upside that was rejected. So price has been previously rejected above this late spike to the upside. We opened on it and broke yesterday. Overnight inventory, was a little bit long. We just traded down to, hung around, and then left the weekly kickoff low, 56.70, closing above it, seeing buying coming in. I'd be very interested to see if we had an opportunity up here anywhere around 59.04 to maybe 59.70 to see if we find some basing, some more selling up at that level. The next naked point of control I see is from yesterday where we were already tested back to it, but above that, looks like we've got maybe one up here at 59.70. That is a very interesting area. I'll double check that on my TPO charts and see if that remains unchecked. And then above that, 60.64. But again, we got overnight inventory long. If we can't close the gap relatively early, gap rules apply, and we'd be looking for opportunities in the direction of the gap. Very short time frame look, longer time frame. I totally agree with Jay. I mean, it has been in a downtrend. We'd be looking for a pullback to get into a short in this downtrend. See if we can find anything happening here. Jay, what do you think?
I agree with you, Hogue. At 59.04 level you have, I like that. Looking at the 30-minute chart here, the highest volume candle that we've had on the 30-minute in the last month or so, 50% of that candle is right at 59.08. So I do like that area for a potential short, right back down into this range, back down to 58s, and then we'll assess there. But yeah, I'm just for today, if I'm trading crude, I'm looking at what the market says about this range, 58 up to 60, with 59 kind of right in the middle there. But I may just take this off of my charts right after we get off of here. It has not been an easy trade for me at all.
No, crude has been a tough little bugger, hasn't it? All right. So Red Book out.
Yeah,
Eddie, what do you
hit the
think?
wire here. 6.9 forecast, previous 6.1. And this is the Red Book year over year. And if you're wondering, Red Book is the index sale weighted year over year for the growth of sales in about 9,000 stores. It's our Red Book coming up today, and that's what I've got.
So people are still spending money on DoorDash. Yeah, all right. So this is the daily in crude oil. We look big, strong trend to the upside. You look for 3 down days in an uptrend. 1, 2. We had our third down day. Looks like last Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, last Thursday, and market's been recovering ever since. And I don't see any reason why it has to stop. Yesterday, we had pretty low volume, but a lot of that might be because of the holiday. We added 4,300 in open interest. So buying coming back into the market. We had also negative delta. If you were here yesterday, I showed you that spreadsheet that says when gold goes higher, adds open interest with negative delta, there's longer time frame buyers in the marketplace. Longer time frame buyers, we do not want to fight this move until it's time to fight this move. So we had, some longs. You get smushed here. We fell into balance. All of this helps even out inventories. We got that last push to the downside to help us scare out any of the weaker hands longs. And now the market is returning back to the upside. So this looks like it may be setting up a longer time frame area of balance. We've got weekly kickoff high, 34.36. Remember the weekly kickoff high before that was right at the high, within a tick of it. And so we've moved that down a little bit. A lot of excess up there. We're going to need more new buying to get us back above that weekly kickoff level. I don't know. What do you think? How long until we hear air horns, Jay?
Friday. Friday. I give it to Friday. We
I
are
got it.
trading back inside that candle that made the all-time high, right? The low of that candle right around 33.76.
Mhm.
I mean, it could happen today, Hogue. Who knows? With the buying I saw last night, they were not joking about buying this. On the daily, I'd be looking at whether or not we close inside this candle at all. So a
Uh-huh.
close on the daily above 33.75 looks very good for bulls. And next two targets, just visually, would be 34.42, and then that all-time high, which could happen in a very short order. Maybe tomorrow. Is there a potential catalyst tomorrow that
Yes, there is.
could give us some
FOMC.
volatility in these markets? So it could be tomorrow.
All right, let's take a look at the 30 and get ready for the opening range trade in crude. So, yeah, I mean, all right, very narrow range yesterday. Overnight, well, we got word that the uh, Chinese were buying gold again. Looks like they're continuing to buy gold. Glad we're long, but as usual, when the market's going your way, you never have enough on. When it's going against you, you always have too many on. But at least we're participating in this. I can certainly see this continuing. No effort to close the gap at all whatsoever. Opening range remains the low of the dead ass low of the session. That's how trend days start. So I'm all in for letting the auto liquidator take us out of these last two micros in gold. But we'll see how that plays out. Jay, what are your thoughts?
I'm with you, Hogue. So we talked a couple weeks ago, maybe last week. We talked about a buy and hold and just leave it. This feels like that trade, right? We maybe didn't get the greatest opportunity. We had the opportunity to buy it in the 3200s, but yeah, same here. Maybe we let the auto liquidator do its job at the end of the week and see where this one ends up. Because
We do have crude oil open for business, guys. Crude oil is open.
Right, yeah,
We're
let's
looking
check
at the 1 minute opening range there. Yeah, I tried to get back in on that 3 lot at 33.93.10. Was trying to get back in 40 points better. Just missed it on that bid though. Still long 2 gold
right.
though.
We're still participating, JD. That's good. Sorry, when Jay's on here, we just get to talking about markets and we always just kind of overrun our time there.
What does the chat say? Less talking, more trading.
Less talking, more
doing
trading.
All right, so we're working our bids to enter, our stops to enter. We got to stop at 58.72 to get long, stop at 58.56 to get short in crude oil, playing the 1 minute opening range breakout there.
14 tick opening range.
14 ticks. See if we can't get a signal here. Gold trade is working out nicely.
Marriott.
Yeah, this thing is just.
Yeah, we'll save those for the auto liquidator, just like you said. Haven't adjusted the stop yet. CYA is in the same spot.
JD, I know you shaved a couple. If we get stopped out where the original stop is it still a profitable trade?
We're still in the money. Yeah, a couple $100.
Nice.
Right in the middle of this crude oil opening range.
How has crude been working out for the opening range? I know the last couple that I've seen, we kind of hung out in this range for a while before it decided to break.
We had a record, Jay. 48 minutes inside the first minute candle last week.
Last week, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes crude a tough trade to take, where it feels like if there's a move that happens, it just happens all at once and then consolidates for the rest of the day. At least that's how I've seen it. One big spike on a headline, and then you kind of chop. Yep.
Trading towards the high of the opening range right now in crude. See what happens. Missed us by a tick.
One contract to buy and we're in.
No signal in crude. Right there, though.
What's the realized profit in gold right now, JD?